السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد سيد الخلق أجمعين. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وارحمنا واهدنا واهدنا وعافنا يا رب العالمين. Unfortunately, we started the halaqah in a different place, so I apologize for this. I was, going through the tafsir. We'll start from the beginning, inshallah. We are in the ayah number 14, inshallah. ولما بلغ in Surah Al-Qasas, as we continue on with the tafsir, Jazakumullah khair. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started off with the talking about the story of Musa alayhi salam from his birth and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed, gave wahi to his mother to form the water. Eventually he landed in the house of Fir'aun, the enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his own enemy. At this point here, the ayah number 14 talks about how he went beyond this point and he reached his strength. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, he reached his أشُدَّهُ as the strength, min الشدة, from the strength and the ability and the physical attributes that gives him the way for him to be able to be independent, the strength-wise, physical-wise. وَاسْتَوَى, and I talked about the word stawa. Stawa cannot be explained as one word all by itself unless it's associated with something else with it. We say, istawa tabakh, the food. How is it? How is the food is cooked? How it is made istawa? When it reaches the good point of flavor and texture for it to be edible. That's called istawa. The building is istawa. How is it made istawa? The building is made, it was perfect, reached the point that it is to be habitable for people to live in it. How about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى عَلَى الْعَرْشِ. The arsh got to a point of to be good enough for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbul Izzah, to control it and to rule it, the whole universe at this point. When we talk about istawa to Musa alayhi salam, he reached the point of to be a human being where has the physical attributes to be constructive, to contribute to his society, to the surroundings, and to be independent, for him not for others to to influence him, or for actually he would make the influence on others. بلغ أشده واستوى. So two things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he reached that point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him something else. آتَيْنَاهُ, we have given him حُكْمًا, wisdom, and وَعِلْمًا, we have given him wisdom and ilm and knowledge. This is the two most important attributes. If you notice, this got repeated so many times in the Quran. For instance, Dawood alayhi salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says after he defeated Jalut, what happened to him is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given him what? وَآتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا, wisdom and ilm. Yusuf alayhi salam, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, when he reaches أشُدَّهُ, when he reached the maximum point of strength, and physical attributes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. And hukm and the wisdom and the knowledge. This is the two attributes plus the physical attributes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted it before when he reached that point and istawa. Two things, if you notice, for leaders they need to have. Like if you recall also in Surah Al-Baqarah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Talut, when Bani Israel, they asked for their king, they asked for their prophet, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send them a king to rule them, to lead them. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to them Talut, they objected. They said, لم يؤتى أن يكون له الملك ولم يؤتى سعة من المال. How would it be he's a king and he has not gotten any kind of money, or he does not have a lot of money? The prophet told them at the time, he says, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses whomever he pleases, but Talut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala atahu bastatan min al-ilmi wal-jism, from knowledge and from jism, body attributes. You need to have two things. You don't need the money. It's not the money that's not required for you to rule. What is required is the physical attributes, the physical strength, plus the knowledge to be able to be a good ruler. And if you notice the prophets in general, the messengers in general, when they are amongst their people, they rule their people. Kind of like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the leader of the ummah. He was the judge. He was not just a prophet to deliver to them the Quran, the instructions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also he was in charge of his own people. Everybody came to him. He was the leader of the army. He was the leader of the general Medina when he was in there overall. So Musa alayhi salam, when he reached the strength, maybe somewhere between 18 to 24 years old or something like that, he reached his maximum physical abilities and strength, was tawa, he reached that level. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given him ataynahu. Look at the word ata. Ata means to give with strength, to give with force. Ata. We wouldn't say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, ujitnahu. Say ataynahu. We have brought to him and we put it on him a hukman wa ilman. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And that's how we reward al-muhsinin, the good doers overall. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the strength and the ability. This is the point where there's a change that's going to happen in the life of Musa alayhi salam. This is a fundamental change. This change happened through an incident. Look at this incident and look what we learn from it. وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ على حين غفلة من أهلها. He entered the city on a time where people in a state of ghafla, they were not paying attention. The people were not watchful. They're not paying attention of what's going on around them. Ibn Kathir, he talks about it was in the afternoon where everybody was asleep. It was hot. It was warm day. It's in Egypt, and people actually were asleep. The cities are, the streets are empty. The city, the markets are closed. People are not paying attention. على حين غفلة من أهلها, from its own occupants, from the occupants of the city. فوجد فيها رجلين. He found two men in it. يقتتلان. They are fighting. قتال. يقتتلان. They are fighting. هذا من شيعته. This one is from his Shia, from his group. We talked about the word Shia. Shia, وَجَعَلَ أَهْلَهَا Shia, made them groups. And Shia means the group who get to follow something. They have a specific code, specific something, they follow something. So min shi'atihi, from his followers, or from the followers that, or the group that they follow, specific group, which is a specific something, which has happened to be here in this case. Obviously, the only thing that combined him with any other group is the fact that he is from Bani Israel and everybody else from Bani Israel also. So he was one of those, an Israelite, basically, min shi'atihi, from his own people. وَهَذَا مِنْ عَدُوِّهِ. And the other one is, and هذا, this one is from his عَدُوِّهِ, the group of his own enemy. فَاسْتَغَاثَهُ الَّذِي مِنْ شِيعَتِهِ عَلَى الَّذِي مِنْ عَدُوِّهِ. فَاسْتَغَاثَهُ. He asked for ghawth. He asked for help. Asked for najda. And we say imdad. And we say help. He asked him, help me, like this. One Israelite is fighting one Coptic, the follower of Pharaoh, his own enemy of Musa alayhi salam. And the Israelite they're both fighting, and it seems to be from the story here is that the Israelite was not doing well with the fighting. He was being overtaken by the Coptic guy, the followers of Pharaoh, like that. So he says, help me, come and help me. Who did? The one from his people, the Israelite, asked Musa alayhi salam, you are one of my people, come and help me against his enemy, which is the Coptic guy, the follower of Pharaoh. Musa alayhi salam rushed. فَوَكَزَهُ مُوسَى. Wakaz. This word did not come in the Quran except in this place. Wakaz means he pushed him with the strength. And basically the wakaz is when you push somebody, you get him off his location, off of his position. It's called wakiz. So somebody standing, as you give him a push, you give him a nudge, and he kind of, you got him off his place. That's called wakiz. فوكزه موسى فقضى عليه. He ended up making qada on him as to he actually killed him. And look at the wording here. What has taken place? Musa alayhi salam, he is making istighatha by the Israelite. The Israelite guy, he's asking him, help me, help me. Musa alayhi salam steps in and he pushes the guy with, look at the word, wakazahu, as to he pushed him to get him off his position, to get him off of what he's at. Is it because of the specific location he was in, as to because he was actually beating and defeating the Israelite? Or is it because he wants them to get him off the position he's in as being the defeater and being the strong man who is, the one who has the victory over the Israelite? Either or. But what was his intention? His intention is to get him off that position, not to be victorious, not to be the one who defeats, or to get him off that place, the physical ground, to move him away from where he's at. فَوَكَزَهُ. He pushed him away. But what ended up happening, and clearly from this word, his intention is nowhere near as to kill him or to harm him in such a way. But what ended up happening is fa, as consequently, ended up qada alayh, he ended up killing him. The guy fell down, he hit his head, whatever the situation is, the guy actually ended up being dead. فَقَضَى عَلَيْهِ. Musa alayhi salam immediately said, قال هذا من عمل الشيطان. That is the work of shaitan. إنه عدو مضل مبين. It is an enemy. مضل is the one that misguides people. Mubin, clearly that the one misguides people. There's no ambiguity about the work of shaitan. So what has taken place here? What has taken place is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Musa alayhi salam reached his height, the climax of his physical power and his physical attributes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given him hukman wa ilma. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him wisdom and gave him knowledge. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes reward. That's how we reward the good doers, muhsinin. So, and then he walks in the Medina, he walks in the city in a time that nobody was paying attention. He found two people fighting, one Israelite, one Coptic. The Israelite was being defeated. He asked him, say, come and help me. So Musa alayhi salam, he did not step in with no knowledge, with no wisdom. He stepped in with physical strength and with wisdom and with knowledge, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have given him that. He is muhsin, he's a good doer. So what happened is that when he stepped in, he made wakiz, he pushed this Coptic guy away, or he gave him a nudge in a way that he calculated it to be to get him off his place, to remove him off that, the physical place, but he ended up killing him. So it is completely uncalculated, completely accidental in that meaning. This is what happened. But the picture, when you look at it from the outside, and this is the perspective of Musa alayhi salam, the perspective of anybody who looks at the situation, what does he see? He sees a murder. Is basically Musa alayhi salam just killed somebody. Clearly. There's no other way to explain it. Musa alayhi salam, equally, he adds to the statement. He says, this is the work of shaitan. This is the work of shaitan, what has taken place here. And he is a clear enemy that sets people astray. قال ربي. Immediately, when he made that mistake, an intentional mistake, for him to kill that person, immediately says, قال ربي إني ظلمت نفسي. Even though it's a mistake, even though it's unintentional, but there's a crime has been committed, somebody died. So immediately Musa alayhi salam repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, says, إني ظلمت نفسي فاغفر لي. Ya Allah, اغفر لي, Ya Allah, cover my mistake. فغفر له إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. فغفر له إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made ghafr to him. He covered his mistake. إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ghafoor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who covers the mistakes of others, of his creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one covers it that even the angels cannot see it. Even though a mistake has been taking place and somebody died out of this accidental push or the non-intentional, the push that he pushed did not intend to kill that person, but he ended up dying from it. Immediately, look at the wisdom and look at the knowledge of Musa alayhi salam. After he made the dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi, I have transgressed against myself. Faghfir li. Ya Allah, cover for me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him maghfirah. And he is the Ghafoor, he is Rahim. He is the one who makes it easy for people. Give rahmah to his creation, to his own subjects. Immediately after this, Allah, Musa alayhi salam says, قال رب بما أنعمت علي فلن أكون ظهيرا للمجرمين. Says, Ya Rabb, بما أنعمت علي, because what you have given me the ni'mah, because of this, good that you have given me, the ni'mah that you have given me. فلن أكون, I will not be, the future tense, أكون ظهيرا للمجرمين. Zahir comes from the word Zahr as the back. So Zahir, I'm not gonna be in the back, I'm not gonna be in the support of Mujrim. Al Mujrim, as we talk about, is somebody who is we translate the word criminal, the one who transgresses against the limits Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set for him. Like to say, originally the word, as I always remind you of, the word Mujrim comes in from somebody who cuts with his knife, cutting the meat, he runs the knife against the bone. So he takes from the bone, not just the meat. That's called ajram. So mujrim here means somebody who transgressed beyond the limits. Like we say today, if asking for rizq, asking for money is halal, but for you to go get a job, for you to earn the money is halal, is good. But if somebody transgresses these limits, or beyond these limits, transgresses against himself, and he becomes mujrim, criminal, what does he do is that he would take the money against the will of others. He go rob a bank, or he goes, robs a liquor store, and on and on. So he actually steals, becomes a criminal in this sense. So that was the promise of Musa alayhi salam. Says, Bima an'amta alayhi, because what you have given me, falan akuna, I will not be zahiran lil mujrimeen, I will not be a supporter or in the back of supporting the mujrimeen, the criminals who transgresses and go beyond the limits. فأصبح في المدينة, the ayah number 18. فأصبح, أصبح could be understood as one out of two meanings. فأصبح means من الصباح. He became in the morning. فأصبح. In other words, he spent the whole night. But in the morning, فأصبح. Or we say فأصبح also means he become, because of transformation between night and day, or he has become like this. So, and in tafsir he says that in the morning, next day, in the morning, he became, or he actually spent the whole night, خائفا, in a state of fear. خائفا يترقب, he is watchful. يرقب, يترقب, he's watchful of what's going to happen. And then he's watching around. Obviously, he did not go back to the house of Fir'aun, to his place he was staying in. And he's fearful because there's a crime has been committed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has covered his mistake. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody saw what's happening. And the killing has taken place and everything is just shut. But Musa alayhi salam was also fearful for his life, fearful for the consequences of what he has done. There's a Coptic guy, follower of Fir'aun, was killed. His body's there. So there's something somebody got to pay the price for this. And if they found out that he's the one who did it, he would be in big trouble. So he stayed there in the morning, fearful for his life, watching around him, see who's going to find out what's happening around him. And then when he was being watchful like this, فَإِذَا الَّذِي اسْتَنصَرَهُ, it turned out to be the same person who was asking him for nasr, istansar, spend the effort to ask him for help the day before. The same Israelite, the one that he helped the day before. يَسْتَصْرِخُ, make istisrah. He is spending an effort to scream and yell again for help. But this time is not like, please help me. This time is actually more towards that for him is saying to him, he's saying, shouting loudly, is that come and help me in that sense. First time istighatha, next time istisrah. Yastasrikh. Sarah, to yell, shout, right? Istasrah means to shout for help, to spend an effort, to spend, an extra effort to shout, to make his voice loud enough for people to hear him. What happened here? Obviously, it seems to be the same situation is happening again. The same person, the Israelite, he's fighting again with somebody else. And this time, again, he's being defeated. And this time also, Musa alayhi salam happened to be passing by. He was, being taraqab, he's watching. And this guy got into another fight, and he's asking Musa alayhi salam for him to, help him again one more time. Musa alayhi salam looked down this time and said, wait a minute, something is wrong here. The first time I understand, maybe something went wrong, you were on the wrong place, something, whatever, and transgressed upon it, whatever. He says, إِنَّكَ لَغَوِيٌّ مُبِينٌ. You are ghawi. You are the one who make ighwa. You're the one who set people stray off their path. Mubin, clearly you are like this. What happened? The first day, look what you made me do. And this second time, now I'm seeing you again and get into a fight again one more time. إِنَّكَ لَغَوِيٌّ مُبِينٌ. Clearly you are the one who is set people off their path like what you've done to me the day before. فَلَمَّا أَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَبْطِشَ بِالَّذِي هُوَ عَدُوٌّ لَهُمَا. And when he wanted to, but then again, Musa alayhi salam in this case, then this is the ayah, and arada, when he wanted to, and yabatish, to make batash, to destroy, to remove, to harm, to make batash upon somebody, to get him off his place, the one that is enemy of theirs. Again, Musa alayhi salam rushes to his help one more time. But before he said that, he looked at that guy. He says, إِنَّكَ لَغَوِيٌّ مُبِينٌ. He says, you are ghawi. You are just the one who get off the path, get people off the path. You are not being, being straightforward of what you're doing, and you're getting people off their path. You're misguiding others, like this. Then when he wanted to go and make batash, to kill this guy, to harm him, to fight with him, of the guy that is enemy of theirs, both of them, this man looks at him and he called him by name. He says, Ya Musa, oh Musa, aturidu an taqtulani? He says, you want to kill me? Kama qatalta nafsan bil abs, as you killed somebody yesterday? In turidu illa an takuna jabbaran fil ard. He says, you want to be, there's nothing else you're going to be except for you to be jabbar, to be strength, to have you talk and you act from the place of strength and the place of make batash to people. You become a killer, you become a bad person. وَمَا تُرِيدُ أَن تَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُصْلِحِينَ. And you don't want to be from the ones who fixes things, مُصْلِحِين, make islah in people. In Tafsir al-Kathir here, he talks about this. He says that Musa alayhi salam, when this man, again, this is the second time, he's asking, yastasrikhu, asking him for help. And from this istisraq seems to be he was in a worse position than he was the day before. So he's making istisraq, come and help me, shouting for help. Musa alayhi salam immediately looked at him and he says, you are ghawi mubin. You're clearly ghawi. You get people off the path. You misguide people. But when he moved towards him, he wants to make batash. He wants to kill or destroy or remove or beat the one that is enemy of both of them. In Tafsir al-Kathir, he says that the explanation here is that this Jewish man, this Israelite, he thought he's coming towards him to kill him. So it was a misunderstanding on his behalf. So he looked at him and says, you want to kill me? So you can imagine the whole picture what has taken place. Musa alayhi salam moves towards him and rushing in strength after making the statement. So this guy, the cowardly guy, the Israelite, the one who got defeated, he's almost got defeated the first day and the second day. He thought he's coming towards him to kill him or to harm him. So what happened is that he called him by name. قال يا موسى, O Musa, do you want to kill me like you have killed somebody the day before? إن تريد إلا أن تكون جبارا في الأرض. He says, you don't want to do anything except for you to be jabbar, to be strength, to make battles, to kill and destroy, to do things in the earth, and you don't want to fix things. So what happened is that when he uttered his name, that Coptic guy, he escaped and he ran towards the castle of Pharaoh, and he told them that Musa, he's the one who killed the Coptic guy before, the day before, and he's the one who come after me to kill me today. So now Musa alayhi salam become the target of the search, the target of the anger and the wrath of Pharaoh on all the Coptics, because he killed the first one the day before, and he attacked the other one next day. And now they know exactly what he has done, because that guy, the Israelite, he actually uttered his name. He said who he is, who's the one who did the killing the day before. An amazing turns of events, how Musa alayhi salam, the day before, he was secure, he was in great shape in the house of Pharaoh. No problems, no issues. He wandered into the city in late afternoon, in a time that nobody's paying attention, and he got himself into a predicament by wanting to help. He meant to help this guy, one of his own people. He ended up killing the enemy, his enemy and the enemy of his own people, the Coptic guy. He was afraid and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah forgive me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him maghfirah, and he's Ghafoor Rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him maghfirah. He covered for him. But then what has taken place, that when he's making taraqqub, he's watching out to see what has happened the next day, he finds the same guy again. As like a persistence work for this guy is that he got into another fight with another Coptic guy. And this time when he was, he said, when he rushed towards him, he's running towards him to help him. The guy thought he's going to kill him. And that is the time where, this guy uttered his name. So his crime has been exposed. His name is exposed. And now he is in big trouble. The next ayah, number 20. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل من أقصى المدينة يسعى. وجاء رجل من أقصى المدينة يسعى. It's a different format than one we see in Surah Yasin, a little bit different. And the Yasin is وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى. He وجاء, here رجل. The other one is وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى. It's a little bit different, but the meaning is similar. A man came in from Aqsa, mean the furthest away part of the Medina, the city. Aqsa, and from the way Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the Masjid Al-Ab'ad, the one that is furthest from Mecca, as to say Masjid Al-Aqsa, the Ba'id. From the edge of the city, this man comes in briskly walking, jogging towards him. قال يا موسى, he says, يا موسى إن الملأ يأتمرون بك ليقتلوك. He said, the Mala, the ones who are the establishment of Pharaoh, the helpers of Pharaoh, the whole thing of Pharaoh, the leaders and the dignitaries and all those are conspiring to kill you. فَخْرُجْ, get out. إِنِّي لَكَ مِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ, I am to you from the ones who, the advisors for you. I am, as to give himself credibility, he added himself to Jama'ah, to the group. He says, I am for you from Nasihin, a the general group of the ones who give advice. Now everything fell in place. Musa alayhi salam realized that his mistake or his whatever he's done has been exposed, and this man comes in to warn him. Pharaoh and his mala are searching for him. They were going to kill him. So now he has to get out. فخرج منها خائفا. He exited the Medina. خرج خروج. He exited خائفا, fearful, have خوف, have fear. يترقب, and also watching. He's looking over his shoulder. He's looking over the back. He's exiting. He's running out for his life. قال رب نجني من القوم الظالمين. He says, oh my Rabb, نجني, save me, give me najat, give me, save me from the قوم الظالمين, the people, the transgressors, the evildoers, القوم الظالمين. ولما توجه تلقاء مدين. And when then, the ayah number 22, when he headed towards Tilqa, towards the place that you meet Madian, in the direction of Madian. Madian is in the north side of the Arabian Peninsula. So it's basically outside of the control of Pharaoh and his armies and on and on. He headed basically from Egypt, and he, crossing the desert all the way towards Madian. So maybe we want to say today he headed east towards Madian. Madian, as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's an old place, old city. There's the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his name is Shu'aib. He was a prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him to that area. His people did not listen, did not obey. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to them sarha, the sayha, the scream that eventually killed everybody. But it was still occupied. But he, still the place that people lived in it. And so he headed in that direction. Musa alayhi salam has no food, has nothing with him, and is completely running for his life. قال, he said, عسى ربي أن يهديني. When he made the dua in the ayah number 21, قال ربي نجني من القوم الظالمين. Ya Allah, save me from the evildoers, the transgressors. And the ayah number 22, ولما توجه تلقاء مدين, when he headed towards Madian, and then he made this third dua. The first dua, ربي اغفر لي, and earlier on, and that is in the ayah number 16, maghfirah, number 1. And then the second one, that the next dua that he was making, he says, Najjini min al-qawmi zalimin, save me from the evildoers. The third one, he says, Asa Rabbi, he says, hopefully, instead of Raja, and this is ayah number 22, An yahdini sawa as-sabil, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide me to the sawa, from the word stawa, the sawa, the straight path, sabil, the straight road, to guide me where I'm going. Musa alayhi salam headed out of the desert. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't have any specific direction. He just wanted to escape, the wrath and the following of Pharaoh and his mala. So he's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to set him straight on the path where he's going to be saved overall. وَلَمَّا وَرَدَ مَاءَ مَدْيَنَ, when he arrived at the water of Madian, وَجَدَ عَلَيْهِ أُمَّةً مِّنَ النَّاسِ, he found a nation of people, group of people. Ummah. Ummah is a bunch of people who are basically get together for one purpose. It's actually joined together because of one reason, as we say, nation. Here is a group of them upon where he arrived, where the water is. Yasqoon, they're given water, they're given siqaya, they're actually given water to drink. So basically, when he arrived at the water of Madian, there was a big well of water. And in the well, usually what they do is that they put, the buckets inside, they drag the water, they put it in hawd, they put it in a big, huge space, like a big bucket, like, space. They put the water in it for the sheep to come in and to drink from it. So basically, the ru'at, or the shepherds, they bring their sheep, their flock, their herd of animals. They bring them towards the water, and they pull the water from the well. They put them in this hawd, in this big, huge tank-like or a pool like place. They put the water in there, and all the sheep jump in there and they drink from it. For them to get the water. So he found a bunch of people doing this. يسقون. ووجد من دونهم, and he found less or away from them. امرأتين تذودان, two women are pushing their sheep away. تذودان. He looked at the two women. Instead of them jumping, and the sheep just want to go towards the water, but they're not allowing them. قال ما خطبكما? He says, what's your story? What's your problem? What's your issue? قالتا, they said to him, they both said to him, لا نسقي, we're not going to give our sheep water حتى يصدر الرعاء وأبونا شيخ كبير. He says, we are not going to give water to our sheep until the other shepherds finish. They go ahead, they move away from, or they finish what they were doing. And our father is an old man. SubhanAllah, look at a few words. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us in the picture of what these two women are doing. What happened is that Musa alayhi salam walks in, he arrived at where the water is. He found a whole bunch of people giving water to their sheep, group after group giving water to the sheep. And he found the herders are doing this, and he found two women are actually staying back. They are actually pushing their sheep away from the water. And he says, what's your story? How come you're not, doing like what they're doing? They said, we don't give water to our herd until they finish. We are always last. And because of the small sentence, by saying, and our father is an old man, they explain so much with these two words. Number one is, obviously, is a male-dominant society. Women, they don't have rights. They cannot do anything. Male, I have to do first. Males are the ones who they are ahead of everybody, and the females come in later, number one. Number two is that, in this kind of society, herders are males, and the only male in their family is they have an old man. Abuna Shaykhun Kabir. Our, man is the only man in our family is our father, and he's an old man. Number three is that clearly by saying this is that they don't have any brothers, they don't have any cousins, they don't have any children, males, that they will to do their job. So basically, they have nobody will be able to compete in that, in that place. Number four is that clearly they are outside of their realm because they are women, and this is a job-dominated, man-dominated job. Man-dominated, space. By saying these two words, Musa alayhi salam understood exactly what's going on, as well as who understood what's happening, is that the only male in their family would have been their father, and he's an old man. He's incapable of doing this because of his age. فَسَقَى لَهُمَا, ayah number 24. He stepped in, chivalry, greatness, generosity, being helpful. But again, this is Musa alayhi salam. And this is the one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed hikmah wa ilma. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the wisdom and gave him the knowledge. This is not a man to stand by to watch somebody who is not able, not capable, and somebody who got to stay at the end of the line, and for others to take their rights. He's not to sit back and watch this wrong being happening. He's not the one. Again, what did he do earlier? Look at the vigorousness. Look at the straightforwardness. Look at the helpful nature of Musa alayhi salam. When he saw that Coptic guy beating the Israelite guy, his own people, he stood up for help. He's not the one to watch to see something wrong. He's not the one to say, it's none of my business. What do I have to do with all this? He's not the one to take the wrong side. He's the one always on the right side. The first time and the second time. This time here, when he saw the two women are basically, they are not getting water to their, to their herd, to their sheep, He stepped in, فَسَقَى لَهُمَا. In the Tafsir of Kathir, there's a lot of stories about this. Is that, the well of the water, the well itself, they had a big stone, they covered it, like a lid. They put it on top of the well. It takes 3 men to use. Musa alayhi salam stood up and he moved it all by himself. Allahu Alam is from the Israelite, or maybe they want to have further explanation to the fact that he is a man of strength and the man of ability, because of two reasons. First of all, earlier on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, when he reached the maximum strength, the ability and the strength that he could reach, number one. Number two is what one of the daughters said later. It says, what she told her father, "Stajirhu, hire him, because the best one you hire, qawi, the strength, the strong one." How did they know he's strong? Because he removed the cover of the well all by himself. Where normally it takes 3 men to move, he moved it all by himself, 1 man. It doesn't matter. It's an Israeliyat. It's a story that to be told, that he removed that huge lid that all by himself, and he gave the water to their herd. He actually made way with the other herders. He, made space for the herd of these two women, and he gave their herd the water. After he did, ثم تولى, he turned away. تولى إلى الظل, towards the shade. He turned away to the shade, to the direction of shade. In other words, no conversations, no, side conversations. So, hey girls, what's going on? What's happening? Who are you? What's happening? Can I get some, something from you? You want something from me? Did not make tahassus. So what's your names? What's the name of the tribe? Tell me what's happening, what's going on? Nothing. None of this. No words, nothing. He did what he had to do. He was helpful the way that he should be, or as we all should be, as all good people should be doing. He did his thing with nothing to say to them. He did the job and he turned away towards the shade. He turns towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only one can help. The only one who can give. Look at the great nature of Musa alayhi salam. This is a man get to lead an ummah nation. You get to have the honor to defeat Fir'aun. He has to have these qualities. He has to be proactive. And he has to be so pure and so giving, for his cause, as the good nature of Musa alayhi salam. So, turns towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فقال, he said, رَبِّ إِنِّي لِمَا أَنزَلْتَ إِلَيَّ مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَقِيرٌ. He says, Ya Allah. Look at the way it's worded. This is one of the greatest dua in the Quran. He says, Ya Allah, I am of what you bring upon me, أنزلت إليّ, bring upon me, faqir, I am poor. He did not ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for specific help. He did not say, Ya Allah, send me some food, send me some water, send me this, send me that. He says, in the generalization, he says, Ya Allah, I am to, or because of what you have brought upon me, what you bring upon me, what you give me, what you grant me, I am poor, I am needy. Because, in other words, he's saying that I own nothing except what you give me. And whatever you give me, Allah, I am needy to it, because you know my needs. You know what I require, what I desire, even more than what I know myself. Ya Allah, I am poor, I am needy of what you bring upon me. Amazing dua. How many du'as did Musa alayhi salam do so far? Number one, maghfirah. And in earlier on, he says, Ya Allah, cover for my mistake. And then the next dua, I say, Najjini, save me, min al-qawmi al-zalimin, ayah number 21. And then the third one, he says, Asa Rabbi an yahdini sawa sabil. Then he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance on the straight path. Number one, maghfirah, forgiveness. Number two dua, he says, save me from the transgressors. Number three is that, Ya Allah, guide me to the straight path. Number four, Ya Allah, whatever you bring upon me, I am faqir, I am needy. Ya Allah, give me whatever. You notice something unusual about this. You notice that the law of tanzil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about nazzal, Musa alayhi salam, as well as anything and everything else here on the face of this earth, in a state of being intact. He is not, nothing will happen to him. Everything will happen to him has to be in the state of tanzil, has to come to him from thought, has to enter for him, to go to him, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the earth will have no sustenance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make tanzeel for the water. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. Look at the knowledge, the book. وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ. We have brought upon you the book. We have brought upon you the water. Look at our bodies intact. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make tanzeel, make it enter, viruses, diseases, things that would make us actually go through some kind of, illnesses and diseases. And if somebody's intact, does not have anything comes in from the outside, he's going to be healthy in this perspective. Look at, so tanzeel as the concept of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings things into the lives, into earth, to make things improve, to make things better, to make things different. And look what Musa alayhi salam says, lima anzalta ilayya faqir. He says, Ya Allah, inni lima anzalta ilayya min khair, whatever good you bring upon me, faqir, I'm poor and I am needy. Inshallah, we're going to stop at this point. We'll continue on next week with a little bit more further comments on the subject. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us, inshallah, the knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expand our horizons. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us, inshallah, Jannat al-Firdaus and the life after and the good life here.